Welcome to the Three Seasons podcast, where we talk about your wealth and the three seasons of it: accumulation, protection, and succession. We want to put this podcast out to bring you information and conversations that are, might be with hard to tie down experts in the field and in different areas. And we're lucky in that on our first episode, we have Oscar Sy of Numis CPA. We've watched Oscar and his partners go from practitioners to partners, now to an enterprise, and grow their practice and really grow their client base and what they can do and how they do it. It's really cool to watch an emerging business flourish and grow the way that they have. Outside of the business arena, Oscar's been a friend for a long time, and so we have a lot of fun conversations. And when I introduce him to my other professionals, I always introduce Oscar as the fun accountant, and nobody believes it until they spend some time with him. But I am really happy to have Oscar on the podcast as our first guest and go through some of the implications and setup of like what you could do, what you can do to protect yourself in the planning stages. And really, we want you to keep more of your wealth and not give it away due to taxes and unnecessary or unused planning opportunities. So thank you very much for coming on and doing this.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No worries,
Really
man.
appreciate
Anytime.
this, right? And
Yeah,
so one
happy
of
to
the
be
things,
here.
yeah, man, one of the things that we want to do with this podcast is we want to talk about the three seasons of finances: the accumulation, the protection, and the succession of
Mm,
wealth,
yeah.
and all the partners and the players kind of in that field that will influence clients as they move through those seasons. And
Hmm.
tax is like obviously the number one enemy of wealth. Um, and so
Fair enough.
yeah, right.
Fair
And
enough.
we could do all the right things, and you make a wrong
Yeah.
mistake, and 50% of your good move can go to tax if you don't plan properly.
Yeah.
And
No,
so we want to have
actually,
experts.
53.5 in
50,
BC.
yeah,
Personally, it's painful. Like more than half. Like,
yeah, absolutely. So we want to bring in experts like yourself to come in and kind of talk and maybe answer some questions that we get from the field. And
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sure you have stuff that you get all the time too, and I'd like to touch on that in a little bit. But
Yeah.
you know, if we could, a little bit about your background, because I've known you forever, but the audience hasn't. Um, you
Well,
know,
fair enough.
yeah. Could we
Okay.
start maybe with your origin story?
The origin story. Oh, okay. That goes back. So I used to be able to round it down to like 20 years or round it up to 20 years, but now it's just basically 20 years.
Yeah.
It goes quick. Okay, so back in the day, I started off at Ernst and Young in the human capital group, so doing cross-border taxes. So like I can do U.S. and Canadian personal and corporate tax returns and assist in related matters. So as we fleshed out the firm, well, I guess the origin story. So loved working there. Like working at EY was the best during that time. I mean, still single, right?
Yeah.
Worked ridiculous hours. It was like 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. during tax season. I remember sleeping in my work clothes so I could get like an extra 30 minutes of sleep and just wake up and get out the door um, in the morning. So I was basically still a teenager, essentially. I mean, like through my early 20s, I was still sleeping in like regularly. So getting up at what 5:30 to like get there. No, I'd have to be out at 5, get there for 6. And then Saturdays you worked your 12 hours. Sundays you worked 8 because you need work-life balance, spend some time with your friends and family and such.
Yeah.
But it was a great time and you learned a lot. Eventually, though, I did get the ultimatum from the wife when I did get married. Some things happened. Her dad passed away, and I couldn't get bereavement leave because it was tax season. But shout out to my senior manager at the time. He was like, "Fuck that! You need to go." I was like, "You just got married. You want to get divorced?" I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
So he even let me use his points to get me down there. So super grateful to him for that.
Nice.
Um, and then after that, I finished tax season and just left. I quit. And from there, the clients were like, "Oscar, you're not answering your phone." I'm like, "Sorry, Bob. Like you didn't hear my." Um, so sorry, I was getting a phone call. I don't know if that
Yeah,
disrupted the.
yeah, it did. It was like we're just censoring out some top secret information there.
Oh man, sorry. Yeah, I got a phone call and it just overrode it. Um, Shoot, where was I again with that story?
Your previous manager, he was like good to you, points.
Okay.
You went down to Texas, and then
Oh, the
struck
clients
out
were
on your own.
calling, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So the clients were calling. They called me, and I'm like, you know what? You quit the firm, but you didn't quit me. I'm like, fair enough. Let me call you back. That's when we started going out on our own. And fast forward to now, we've got three. I guess we got four partners at the firm now, three founding ones: me, Andrea, and Jack. We've got Numis CPA, which is a full service CPA firm. We can do everything that everyone in this market needs. Compilation engagements, personal tax returns. We can also do reviews and engage and audit engagements as necessary. We also offer fractional CFO work.
yeah,
And my side of things, we can also offer cross-border services, so personal
nice.
and corporate. And the firm's rapidly expanding. Like we purchased four accounting firms in the last 12 months and have seven earnouts on the go right now. And we're looking for more. So we're looking to acquire more accounting firms this side and south of the border,
Yep,
as well as earnouts for, say, sole practitioners that want to retire and they want to make sure that their clients are looked after. So a lot of the clients love that we can provide the US aspect, whereas before they'd have to go elsewhere for it.
yeah.
Hey, sorry, bud. Oh, can we do this later? I'm just on a call with your Uncle Tyson here. Okay. Anyway, wave.
Hi, OJ.
Thanks, champ. Okay, hit the door. We'll play after. Oh, he's having the best summer ever.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's
uh,
fantastic.
yes. All right. Sorry, does that answer the question or?
Totally. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that gets us up to speed. I really love watching what you guys were doing,
Yeah.
and it shows the different side, different model. Most of us, we strike out on our own. We're entrepreneurs, whether you're an advisor, you're an accountant, you're a professional of some kind, and you've you guys have, as a group, number one, you've illustrated that you can collaborate and grow faster. But number two
Yes,
is,
the team is amazing. The
yeah,
team, like, yeah.
yeah,
Basically, we all play to our strengths without just like similar minds coming together and just pulling something off, right? Like it's
yeah,
great.
right. It's like 1 + 1 = 3, and when you have that synergy, you guys do awesome things. And working with each of the partners, except for Hayden, I haven't worked with Hayden yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
you
you'll
guys
like
are,
him, man. He's great.
yeah, everybody says good things about him. But you guys are all awesome in the things and the way you do things, the way you think, and the way you articulate, kind of like what options clients have. And I really like that. I really love the approach.
Oh, thanks,
But
man. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
no worries. I love watching it grow. The second part to that is I love watching you guys grow, not by addition, by adding clients, but you're growing by, expansion and like merger and acquisition and buying books of business. And I think in your field, in my field, um, we have a lot of retiring professionals that have maybe been around
There
for
are.
40 years and they don't have a
Yeah.
succession plan. And that's probably a whole nother episode, but like succession planning
Yeah.
for professionals. Who
Yes.
who who
Well,
does
and
that?
even just succession planning and also mergers and acquisitions, right? Like there
Yeah.
are like what should you look for now that we've done a couple of these acquisitions and mergers? We've been able to fine tune what we look at to ensure, a smoother transition.
Okay.
In
Yeah,
other words,
lessons
like, yeah,
learned.
bleeding less cash.
Yeah.
You want it like turnkey profitable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Um, so one of the things that my partner and I, we get a lot of questions when we work with graduating medical professionals and
Oh, yeah.
brand new to the scene, they transition from 20 years of schooling to like now they're active and they're earning great income. We get a lot of the same questions, and so I wanted to run some of these questions by you and
Yeah,
kind of
shoot.
get your spin and your eyes on it. So, um, recently we've had changes in the capital gains inclusion rate, and that
Yes.
affects incorporations, it affects trusts, and it does affect the personal side, but after a certain amount. And so for the everyday Canadian, there's not a lot of change in that sense.
Well, unless they sell an investment property like a cottage, that's where it
Yeah.
really kind of hits you. Or if your property is larger than your principal residence exemption allows, right? Say like farmland and your primary residence is on there. The government's really giving you kind of a jab for doing that. But you're right; it's $250,000 exemption before,
Yep.
and at the old inclusion rate at 50% before the new one, which is 2/3.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So one of the questions with all of that kind of stuff that we've been
Mm.
getting is brand new doctors, brand new practicing professionals. Should they incorporate? Is there still a benefit? I mean, they're scared that these changes in tax rules and the little bits and pieces they see on the news is going to
Okay.
have a negative impact or not as much of a positive impact. So what do you guys tell emerging like professionals? They're going to earn three, four, $500,000 a year, maybe more. Is it still
Yeah.
worth it for them to incorporate?
Yeah, you know what? Incorporation has benefits for different ranges of incomes and different reasons, right? Like if you want the liability protection, then it doesn't matter what your income's like. You just want the protection, so you pay for it. If you're doing it to try to optimize your taxes and just have more control over the situation, and have the opportunity to do so, then let's say hypothetically, if CPP is not important to your retirement plan, hypothetically, then at 60 grand of self-employed income on your personal tax return, you're paying like 8 grand in CPP, right? The employer portion and your personal portion. If you incorporate and ran that same 60 grand through there and just took a dividend out, you're saving yourself 8 grand right there,
Yep.
minus whatever it is, like 35 to 6 grand to get your year end work done, ballpark. You're still net up, after paying your favorite accountant. Um, to continue with everything, and then from there, like from 60 to say half a million, that's taxed as the small business rate, assuming that there's nothing to affect your small business rate in play.
Hmm.
Then that's only taxed at 11% here in BC, which is awesome,
Yep.
right? 55 grand on half a mil. If you're someone that was a high earning executive on payroll, you make half a million, you're paying 250 in tax plus your CPP and your EI,
Yep.
right? So earning half a mil, only paying 55, 55,000 on, and it's phenomenal. Not to mention other plays that you can run with your financial advisor, right?
Yep.
Like they should talk to you about it and talk about different things like IPP is a good thing. Corporate whole life plans, health spending accounts. There's a lot of different things that, depending on their situation, their goals, and you can customize these plans to maximize their benefit. So
Yep.
I guess the long and the short is, they can incorporate whenever they want, depending on the reason. And if it's for purely, fine, like tax optimization, well, 60 grand there, I'd say they should consider it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So I guess the other question that kind of follows or pairs with that is
Mhm.
they're coming out of school. They've
Yep.
got whatever 300,000 to $500,000 of student loans.
Yes.
When should they incorporate? Should they wait a year or two and run out their tuition credits and look to optimize from that point of view, or is there another strategy that you kind of see being utilized properly?
Yeah, it depends on their situation. If they have other sources of income, they might have some investments and other things. They might be able to absorb it anyway. Plus, if they run it through the corp, they can pay it out in different ways. So, like for example, if RRSPs, I don't think it's really good for them, but if it were important to that person for whatever reason, or let's say the rules change down the road and they make them relevant again, um, you could pay yourself a salary out of the company,
Yep.
or just bonus out, bonus down, in the company. There's ways to maneuver that so you can absorb the tuition credit. So you can incorporate anytime still.
Okay. Okay. So they
Yeah.
don't have to wait like a 2 year waiting period or whatever to optimize like if they're working with a professional like you could figure it out and tell the story on
Yeah,
paper.
do it right away, right? And then get the tax savings or deferral. Invest it,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's just, or I mean, you could earn it personally, um, and also invest it. So it just depends on your situation, and what their goals are, right? So
Yeah. Very true.
yeah.
Um so with with those professionals, high income earning, they're going to incorporate, they're going to do something. Do you guys still see huge benefits in them opening a hold co sooner than later to hold their and house their investments and keep it separate from their opco or their medco if they're a professional in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, if they do it early on and they can get a deal with their accountant to kind of bundle everything, because there shouldn't be a lot of transactions going on at the holdco level, then you can get them all set up at the same time.
Yeah.
If you're on a budget or just want to keep your expenses as low as possible each year, then you can defer that till you start buying assets, and then you can hold the assets in a holdco. If you want to keep it really cheap, then the holdco doesn't even own the opco; it's just lateral, right? Keep it as cheap as possible. Or yeah, I guess the other way is if you can pull everything out and there's a year where it's zero, then it makes it a whole lot cheaper to roll that in and do the rollover and have the holdco own the opco.
Yep.
Or if you really need to and you really want to and do that, then like we'd love to do it. There's Section 85 rollover, and that takes a million hours. A million hours is quite billable. I'm teasing, right? But I'm just saying we can help with whatever situation. But if you're trying to optimize that, yeah, try to do it when there's no value in the company. If there's any points in the year when that happens, or talk to your professional. Talk to your professional.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I guess if we could switch gears a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
in the tech space right now, everybody's talking about AI and how it's going to revolutionize everything.
Oh yeah.
What are you guys seeing in the accounting space? Do you think that's going to come on and take over like a lot of admin tasks or some of the basic stuff? What are you seeing kind of in your space for that?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't noticed a whole lot so far. I mean, I've been using it for like personal assistance and that kind of stuff and like ordering things around.
Yeah.
But I'd argue like having kids is easier. They're more interactive, right? And then they can interact with the AI for me. That's how I've been.
That's right. Yeah. Their tech support.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can barely get through the names of the kids sometimes, like to figure out. And I know which one it is, but I just go through all the names. Fuck. And then now I got to add like Alexis and whatever the other one is, right? Like Google
Yeah.
Smart, or I don't even know what you say to it. And then my
Yeah.
car even does it too, right? It's like, hey, Mercedes, like, right? And then every time that word comes up, it's like, how can I help you, Oscar? I'm like, huh.
Yeah. Stop listening.
Yeah, listen to everything. But we are working on optimizing our workflows and making a lot of the admin tasks as automated as possible. So not necessarily AI, but more just linking the different processes and our CRM and the back end so that when we send the final tax return out to the client, it hits the portal and gets sent to them and send them the signature page that they can go on their phone, turn it sideways and sign off. And then instead of someone have to manually receive that and save it, the system will just automatically trigger it, update all the different tasks, run that through so then the person with the e-file list has it on there. And then when they e-file it, all the dates and everything, all the manual stuff now will be automated and tracked and populated. So not necessarily AI yet, but I mean, these capabilities make it faster for us, gives us more, so we can do more returns in a shorter period of time,
Yeah.
or cut down our admin costs because our admin costs are quite high. And the reason
Absolutely.
for that is we want to make sure we don't miss any dates. Like it's the simple stuff that you need to do well. For clients, you want to make sure they file on time or they're getting nagged on time. If they're late for their procrastination, they'll cut you some slack. Like it's all good. They're usually understanding. But if they're giving it to you, like they're the first guys to give it to you and they're the last ones out, like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, and we
Yep.
all know that happens. So this will help alleviate that. Well, we've alleviated it by having our expensive admin team, which is quite like a big chunk of our overall expenses.
Yeah.
These optimizations will help shrink that down, and we're hoping that the AI will do the same. It will help either allow our admin team to do more things, right? Like imagine being able to get it to check your stuff to say like, hey, can you tell me everyone that didn't reply to this? And just have that kind of running in the background so that you can continue on with your task.
Yeah.
It's not going to take over our admin team people's jobs. It just means they'll be able to get more shit done.
Yeah. So it's more like business optimization and less like replacement.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I'd love to see is AI on the CRA side.
Yeah.
right? Like that would be great because like if we were to have the data, like for basic tax returns, or just people with T4s or whatever tuition slips.
Yeah.
My tuition slips might be too hard, but okay, just T4s or investment slips. Like CRA should be able to just file that for you,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like how they do in the UK.
Okay. Oh, they do that in the UK.
Yeah, it's auto filed. Like you don't got to. You only got to file if you have extra staff. So like a
Yeah.
rental property, right,
Yeah.
or cap gains for the year and whatnot.
Okay.
But otherwise, like your paychecks already going, it goes to the government. You're paying them every month.
Right. And they get reporting, and then your employer reports a T4, sends a T4 in, and so they should have all the information.
Yeah, assuming that's your only source of income, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
have somebody to elect to do that and have the AI just bang them out, you know?
Gotcha. Um, One of the things that we see in the marketplace a lot is we see self-employed people like contractors, whatever,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
incorporated. But back
yes,
in the day, we used to talk about like I don't know, what do you call it, the scale or the laddering of all of these things, where you'd have partnerships, you'd have limited partnerships, you'd have a lot of options in between. Do you still
yes.
see a use case for all of those? Because a lot of people seem to jump from employed to incorporated.
Yeah, you know, it depends. It depends on people's situations and like how they want to run things. So let's go back to the corporation. Let's say you're a U.S. citizen living in Canada. A lot of the strategies and benefits of having a Canadian corporation kind of go out the window when you're an American. So that may not make sense, right? So for them, they might want to stay self-employed, or say like a domestic Canadian person that just they don't know if their business will be viable yet, but they want to go do it. So they go do it instead of spending money incorporating, they're going to spend that money on advertising or something else to get their business going. Then you don't have to do a whole lot of setup if you're not trademarking any names. You can just go out and chug on your own and self-employed, just run the income and the expenses. So it's like the cheaper, more nimble way of doing it.
Hmm.
Like you can even just open up another checking account or a sub checking account with your personal stuff, essentially, and just designate that as your business account, right?
Yep.
People will jump to the incorporation because their neighbor told them, or there's a good reason their accountant told them to do it, right? Partnerships could be useful depending on the situation. Like, let's say you have it's a situation where there are partners that are maybe non-resident or in different countries, and you want the systems to line up. Sometimes a partnership will be a better solution for it. So yeah, there's still a use case for all of them depending on the situation.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. We just don't come across them a lot, so I thought you'd be the one to ask to see like what is like where it's used and what makes the most sense. Um,
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, it's funny. There's like certain fashions, and you can tell like where the when the planning was done in like different eras of the
okay. Okay.
accounting world. So it's always changing though, right? So make sure the best thing you can do is have a good team and maintain a good relationship with them, so that you'll always be top of mind, and you know they'll remember. Oh, hey, this affects Bob. Hey, Sandra, can you tell Bob, or like let's make sure all the clients in Bob's situation receive something on this topic, right?
Okay.
That would be actually useful for AI when it was tracking that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
She
right.
can tell her AI bot to go do it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very
Fictional
interesting.
names, by the way, I just made those names up, so I won't remember them later if you ask.
Um, what are some of the common myths and stuff that clients come to you with? They say, "Hey, I heard accountants have to do X," and you have to dispel those and like re-educate clients. Like, what are some things that you come across a lot that you find has to be like untangled before you get to do the work?
Oh, I don't know the range. Oh, that's an open-ended question. I can't think of a good one right now. Like there's so many. Um, for it ranges, right? Because some people have no business acumen at all. They're more
Yep.
like the artsy side, but so they can make the product, but they need someone to manage the business piece. So for them, like some of the myths, or not myths, but just like misunderstandings can be quite profound. Like even just trying to get through like what's gross versus net income, or what expenses are,
Okay.
or why you pay tax, like some pretty basic things. I mean, that also happens for new people, right? But that can be interesting. Um, Common misconceptions on the personal tax side are, oh, if I make too much money, like work that extra hour, It'll put me into a higher tax bracket. Now all my income will be taxed at a higher tax rate. Well, not true, right? Because we've got a graduated tax rate here in Canada.
Yep.
So whatever you made in that lower bracket is not affected by your higher income. So go ahead and make as much money as you want.
Yeah.
Make sure you have
Yes.
someone to help you tax optimize, but don't limit yourself because like, oh, I'm going to pay too much in tax for it. I mean, no, go make the money. Like take the money, and then ideally you plan first. But if the money's in front of you, take the money. Like it's old fashioned business. Yes,
That's right. That's right. That's
it
great.
might not be there tomorrow.
That's right. That's the best advice. Um, I have somebody that's coming on later for another episode, and she specializes in helping people deal with some of these like self-inflicted, self-sabotage thoughts.
Self
Like,
sabotage, yeah,
right?
or
Like, hey,
undervaluing themselves.
yeah, I don't want to pay tax, so I don't want to make more money. But it's like, wait a minute, like
It's a good
maybe
problem
there's
to have.
another, yeah, that's a great problem to have. Maybe there's a different framing that we could put together. But
Yeah,
that's
or
great.
planning, right? So, like, let's say that doctor, they're doing about 500,000, and if they're paying the 55 grand in the company, they've still got like north of 400, right, for
Yep.
things. And if they can do their investments and their all their health and wealth stuff in the company if they want, and just pay out a very small dividend on the personal side. Like a 50K dividend is usually only a couple grand in tax on your personal side, assuming there's no other income. It's
Hmm.
like nothing. Take a 100K dividend, right? It gets bumped up. So for mortgage purposes and lending purposes, you look better.
Yep.
And your tax is going to be like what, 15 grand maybe or so? But 100 grand, I mean, that's peanuts, right? So,
Yep.
it does help smooth out that tax bump and the overall business if you do it well, right? And have your accountant run the numbers. And it's different from year to year,
Yeah. Okay.
different rates, different provinces, the political things going on. But if you have a good accountant, they'll walk you through that stuff. And then you got to pay them to run it. Nothing's free, right? We're like,
That's
hey,
right.
I love it when they're like, hey, can you run this estimate? And then you send them the quote. And you're like, I need a quote for an estimate. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it takes time. Someone's going to look at it. I mean, if you want a napkin one, I'll take you out for a beer and let's do it that way. But if
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you want a proper, thing, then yeah, the team's going to spend some time on it. Like, we'll quote you. But yeah, no
Absolutely.
surprise bill. You'll let them know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Then you know if you need to do the estimate or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. It's really difficult to put yourself in a situation giving away that free advice, free like work that you're doing essentially. And then you seem to
Because you got
attract more of
partners.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So like for me to doing that is kind of taking money out of their pockets, which is unfair, right? So as
Absolutely.
much as I'd love to, donate time, and there is a season for that, but when it's work time and this is how we feed everyone, yeah, we got to be respectful of our time and make sure that you're generating enough so that everyone can hit their goals.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, so maybe if we could talk a little bit more about Numis and what you guys are doing. I really like watching the blow up go from you guys as like a personal practice, the partners merged, which was a cool thing to watch, and then now you
Oh,
guys have gone
yeah.
on a growth campaign. What are you guys doing that's exciting that you think in the next couple of years, working together, you could do that you couldn't do like on your own?
Oh, that's a great question. So we've tried other partnerships and gone through some failed ones, and you got to do, is it Bezos that says this? You got to fail fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as we knew it wasn't going to work, we just like untangled and carried on. And when we teamed up with Jack, it was great. It was like a marriage. Like it was
Hmm.
unspoken that we had to say any of the stuff, and we always had each other's backs. So me, Andrea, and Jack's founding partners. Then Hayden came to the mix as well. It's like all our backs are to each other, and we can just like face whatever we need to face going forward without having to look back and play into the politics.
Yeah.
Staff and all the other things, though, yeah, that's a completely different beast, and I'm sales, so I just try not to rock the boat. I've got my assistant, and everything runs through her.
Yep.
So that's why I just like to empower her as much as possible, because then more of my stuff gets done and tracked. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That
get her
makes sense.
four AIs, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So the direction that we're taking the company, once we got our systems together, Hayden came and made everything scalable.
Okay.
So, and modular. So anyone that was sick, first was just within the office, could pick up a file and continue where it was left off based on our notes and tracking. When we got the right people in play, we had to kind of maneuver things. We realized, hey, we need a lot more work. Like what used to take us, we were at 120% over capacity. Now we're like, hey, we got that done, and we still got 50% more capacity. Like we need more work. So I'm out pounding the ground. Like we find, like we're always doing our organic growth, online campaigns, and other new things that we're going to be releasing in the next little bit. And I've gone the old fashioned, let's meet all our COIs. Let's talk to the bankers, financial advisors, people that, accountants can help and be part of that team to
Yeah.
help all of our, high net worth clients, your mom and pop shops, and even like your individuals. Like some individuals are just like happy to spend the money to make sure it's done well and
Yeah.
that they've got a point of contact. So we've got a lot of what people would consider a simple file, but they want the concierge service, which is, you pay for what you get.
Absolutely.
Um, so for those people, it's like velvet, like it's like we wipe their ass for them. It's amazing. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, are my taxes done? I'm like, yeah, we got this result for you. Thumbprint here, and you're out of here, right? Like they don't even have to come in; it's just on their phone, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
it's
best thing I think that COVID did to all businesses is it made everything like virtual and e-sign and like simple and like, I know
like
you
even
don't
the
love to go
podcast
into the
stuff. Oh
yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
allergic to the office. You're right. Yes, that's
Yeah,
the
I don't go into an office, right? And I don't have to commute as much as I used to.
yeah,
And things get done faster. And now,
yeah, way more done.
yeah, you're in different provinces, I'm in different provinces, and I don't have to
Yes.
jump on a plane to go and shake hands with somebody to get things done. We could do it over the phone, we could do it
Yeah.
virtually, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we tell our clients. We can do and like as much in person or virtual as you want. And what we've been doing to facilitate that is me, Jack, and Andrea, like the Numis core, are investing in new properties. So we've got Archetype coming out soon, and we'll be taking new office space there, moving our downtown location there and the staff. We'll have pods there, basically for clients that don't have a home set up or can't get some quiet time, they can come into the office and the admin person will set them up so they can have their virtual meeting with whoever is needed.
Okay.
But I'll have some pretty swanky meeting rooms too, and all the usual stuff. I'll still be allergic to it though, so we'll go to the bar next door.
Yeah, right. So you guys are gonna have like a little like WeWork type of suite for as like a service?
I don't. Well, not necessarily. It's more. It's free for the clients to use, but yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, we might. I don't know what the idea. What we're if we actually are going to be renting space out. I know
Okay.
we've talked about it, but I don't know what the final result will be. Depending on how many books we buy between
Yeah.
now and then, we may need the space. But we'll see how because a lot of our BC people have actually transferred because we bought 4 accounting firms the last 12 months. Well,
Yep.
that would be Vancouver Island. There was a cloud one. We did West Kelowna. So we got one in West Bank, a physical office, and then one in Airdrie.
Okay.
A lot of our BC guys actually moved to the Airdrie. They asked for transfers.
Okay.
Well, because, the wives, they want houses,
Yep. That's right.
right? So they got to keep them happy. So they went over there. It's been great for us because now our Vancouver payroll has dropped. So we don't have to worry about EHT
Yep.
and all the heavy payrolls in Alberta. So some benefits to having the different offices. And now that the Alberta office is fleshing out, we're eventually going to update all the offices to have kind of matching themes and have like the pods available for them, like especially in the West Bank area and Airdrie.
Okay.
There are some clients that prefer to come in person. That will help facilitate that virtual stuff if they want.
Okay.
But I've been converting quite a few. I've been flying to West Kelowna and to Airdrie 1 week each per month for the last little bit and meeting and greeting everyone. And there's a lot of local establishments that are just amazing. So
Okay.
it's a great way to, break the ice and get to know your clients. And then you can get the business done on the Zooms or over emails or phone calls, right?
Yeah.
But the in-person stuff is where you can do like the actual, tell me what's going on and let's get some planning done for you, right? And
Yeah.
get like the right questions going, the right foundation for it. And it's more fun,
Yeah.
way more
Yeah.
fun.
I know it's so funny because when I introduce you to other groups, I always say, "Hey, you're the fun guy," right? And they're like, "No,
Oh,
no, he's an accountant." It's like, "No, no, no, you're the fun
uh,
guy." And when we
accounting
go
can be
out,
fun. It's
we
fun
have
to
yeah, we
save
have a
money.
great time, yeah, right? And you're breaking the mold, the stereotype that comes with it. I think
Oh,
that's funny.
someone said something. We're talking about yeah. Well, you were just talking about like, well, this is the new normal, right? The newest way will be the new normal of getting things done because
Yeah.
as much or as little as you want. And some of our techie, like our savvy people that want to save on fees, they got it down to a science. Like they send us exactly what we need, minimum time. Yeah, we'll discount that for sure.
Okay. That's dope.
So yeah, it's amazing. So what I love about the growth is the systems are getting more and more efficient. So for example, like that automation that we were talking about, and hopefully AI when that does come out. So with the current resources, we're able to do more. We actually need a lot more work. So we're looking after actively looking for other books to buy, either through the earn out process or with cash. For cash, we've been targeting more like physical offices, like accounting firms that are already established in that area, where
Yep.
the locals are like, well, I don't know what firm it is, but it's over there.
Right.
It's in the accounting complex. Then we'll buy those. The sole prop ones are a bit of a tougher sell because it's just a client list.
Yep.
But for those, we've been like a lot of them are flexible. We'll do maybe some up front and an earn out, and then offer them a spot on the team,
Okay.
right? To do just the stuff that they want, right? I mean, like if you only did the stuff you wanted while you're in preferment, I came across that word recently. Love it,
Okay.
right? Because
Yeah.
retirement's kind of old fashioned, right? Preferment, you're on the golf course, but tick off a couple boxes and
Yeah.
keep the business
Right.
going.
You could do like 10 days a month or something and stay active.
Stay active, yeah.
I think that's a great,
Preferment,
yeah, that's a great word. That's a great way to look at it because we have the conversation from a retirement planning standpoint
mm,
is, okay, so you're a dude and you've worked for 40 years and people know you as your job, right? Most men identify as their career, right? You're a
fair,
firefighter,
fair.
you're a doctor, you're whatever you are, right?
Yeah, no one goes, I'm a lover. First and foremost,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
should be the first job.
yeah, some might. I don't have any of those as clients.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Different, yeah, different. Well, that's
yeah,
like the first industry, isn't it? Like,
yeah, right.
shoot, one
That's
of the
right.
oldest.
The oldest industry.
Yeah.
So when men retire, is they typically lose their identity, and
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, right. And so the stats that I've seen are usually police focused, right? So like if you're a
Okay.
police officer and you work till like the oldest retirement age, you
Yeah.
actually live the shortest retirement.
Yeah, because if they're not active and passionate about doing something, right, like their first job or whatever it is, their
Yeah,
hobby, and you're just on the couch, like I guess I've seen it, like, right, it's
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah,
Whereas I've seen some other guys in preferment, like in their 90s, like they're like Oscar. Well, it's funny because their wife will get mad at them because they're like, we have RMDs to take out still. Like, stop making more money. And
yeah.
then me and me and Bob, right? I look at them, they're like, well, I never knew that was a problem or like a bad problem to have, right? But yeah, the
Absolutely.
other the other half can't live with them, can't live without them. So even when you do the right things, they'll still. I'm teasing, but yeah, just make the money. But that
Yeah.
would not to make preferment or RSPs. I would say semi-relevant, depending on what your retirement or preferment's going to look like.
Yep.
Like if your income's just going up from there,
Hmm.
you're not going to have the opportunity to take it out. So I really hope like the government comes through on their talks about helping pensioners take out their money by maybe giving them like a better rate on
Okay.
taking out your RSP, right? Because then that would
Yeah.
make sense. Like regardless if you're high income, like later on in life in preferment, if it say was taxed at capital gains rates or something instead, or a special seniors only rate, and put the conservative name in there so people remember. I don't
Yeah.
know, whatever you want to call it. Then yeah, I'd give them incentive, make it relevant again.
Absolutely. That's interesting. I think that's going to become a very relevant conversation because people are living longer, healthier lives. I mean,
Oh yeah, I
right? Like
can't tell how old people are looking at them now.
yeah, when we were younger, 50 years old looked like, like
50 years old.
1 foot in the grave. Like that's man,
Yes.
that's old. And now, right,
Yeah.
especially like in Vancouver, is
Dude,
they're
they're
all
jacked.
Lululemoned out, they're jacked, they're on TRT, they look like they're 25 years
Yeah.
old. And
Yeah.
same with some of the women. And
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yeah. The
like,
Vancouver
how
women. Yeah.
how old are you? Like
I don't care.
you don't ask, but you wonder, like,
Yeah.
they don't look like they're ready to retire in 10 years.
Yeah.
They might have another 30 years of career if they find something they're passionate about.
Yes, and you know what? Like this 50-year-old. We're talking about 50-year-olds. Buddy of mine over in Airdrie, in Calgary. When I meet him, like it's always a great time, and he's go venturing off. And when they launch, we'll be able to talk more about that. But there'll be a very interesting concept of a preferment type planning and whatnot. But I forget where I was going with this story now. Shoot, might have to edit this part out.
Okay, no
But
worries.
where was I going with that now? That guy was like, yeah, he's 50. He's 50. Just had his birthday around the Stampede.
Okay,
And when I look at him, if he told me he was 31, I can believe him.
okay,
But it looks like Ant-Man, like Paul Rudd. Just got
okay.
like that. Can't tell how old their face is. Like when they were 20 to 50, it's the same.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, like when he's 70, he could still pull it off. Like maybe he'd look like 50 at that point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yes, that was the point. Yeah, old people. You can't tell. Like
No,
even
you can't.
you still got baby face on you. It looks like you put the gray on there just to like look older
Yeah, it's
than
the
you actually
opposite
are.
of just for men, right? It's just for young guys. I put it on there.
Yeah. I need to look older. So, but no, man. I mean, like if you told me you're in your early 30s, like early to mid 30s, like you'd look like it.
Yeah,
Because I
thanks.
got buds like late 20s, right? Like straight up gray. I mean, I guess that's what accounting does to you. You stay at
Right?
the firms long enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. Um,
Well, I mean, and you still skateboard.
I in my mind I do, but uh I don't think I could sustain the punishment that I used to.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. And so I would hate to be, the dude in his mid 40s that's like busted his ankle and his hip and his knee and stuff because I tried to do something that I did 25 years ago.
Well, fair enough. I guess the last time I saw you do that was in the office 10 years ago. I happened to
Yeah,
be there. And then, yeah.
yeah.
But
It's
just
been a
thinking
while.
about it, I think you just kind of skated on the board into the other room and I didn't see the end result.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's no tricks, there's no nothing fancy. It's just transportation.
Oh man, can you imagine like Bart Simpson? Like that's what I think of when the skateboard, using it for transportation and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
And since we were younger, we've been watching him, and he's still the same age.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, what's up with that?
So you can't tell how old he's a 35-year-old, but that's what he looks like now.
Yeah, that's wild.
Uh, but yeah, taking it back to the preferment thing and kind of the
Mhm.
expansion. So for a lot of these guys that are selling their books, and we'll help them transition. One of them wants to go over to New Brunswick and be closer to the grandkids. And now
Okay.
we got Starlink. They can connect from anywhere, especially with our
That's right.
system was like designed to be remote. So
Yeah.
workers can be anywhere, like management and not. Like the juniors, it definitely benefits having them learn from each other in like early stages with a mentor.
Yep.
So that's what
Yep.
the in-place office is for, especially in places like Vancouver, where rent's ridiculous. So you
Yes.
have to live with 20 people.
That's right. That's right.
So those guys don't want to work from home. It's the guys that have houses that will work from home. But for the other ones, no, they want to come to the office and have some me time.
Yep. Definitely. I think that's
Yeah.
important. I think there's a season of your life where you should be doing that. And as a young advisor, some of the water cooler
Yes.
talk and interacting with the various stages of other advisors that's where I learned the most. Is like you can casually
Yeah.
ask like, "Hey, what do you do in this situation? Hey, what do you think about this?" And this was just released. What's your take? And you get to hear, an beginner, intermediate, and an advanced thought process on the same thing, and you could do that
Yeah.
all in the same day. Whereas if I'm virtual, I'm not gonna like set a Zoom meeting with you and be like, "Hey, Oscar, what's your thoughts on this?" And you're like, "Hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm too
Like, tell
busy."
the game's like, you jerk. Like, yeah, I got a million things to do.
Yeah,
Not jerk, but I mean, like, you can text me.
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, you text or call me for that kind of stuff. And you're right. Like, the water cooler stuff is great. And the
Yep.
banter, right? Like, that's when the brainstorming happens. You got your paperclip rockets fired at your peers and it's
Yeah.
going on. But yeah, no, it definitely helps, especially in the days, younger days or early days of your career. You don't know what questions to ask.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
you wonder, right? But if you're spinning your wheels, it's good to have a mentor nearby that's available to help you. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm not saying harass them incessantly. They're not your mom or dad. Like you got to take some of the responsibility for yourself. But yeah, I think it's like an incubator. It'll just leapfrog their advancement if they're willing to listen to their mentors
Yeah, very
and the
true.
people that they're asking their questions and make the most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Also, we can have cool stuff in the office, like an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah, well, certain people do that campus lifestyle very well, and I don't know that everybody can, but I hear you.
Fair enough.
You
Fair
you
enough.
get them
Yeah.
to stay in the office for 16 hours a day, right?
Yeah. We just got to make Halo a client or something like that, whatever game.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. I guess to end this off is I'd
Yeah.
love to pick your brain in you've matured through various stages of being a business for self, business owner, like business enterprise now. What
Okay.
are one or two like business lessons that you've learned over the years, especially because of your guys' advancement in the last 5 years?
Oh, okay. So health is wealth.
Yep.
Um, you dying and not living to enjoy what you're doing, definitely not the way to go. And you got to smell the roses along the way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying be like ridiculous, but you want to enjoy every step. Like, you're not racing to get someone per se. You might be racing to your next goal because it's more comfortable.
Hmm.
But as you continue to progress, like, you want to make sure you're enjoying it along the way because we don't know how long we're going to live,
Yep.
right? So I've got a health team, and I never used to like exercise, right? So with my health team, like make me do like the workouts I need to throughout the week. Kinesiologist and the personal trainer. That was actually a former CPA, so she's ridiculous at the training stuff because she'll actually recalculate things for me depending on how hungover I am, depending on the client event,
Yeah.
and still hit targets, right? And then I've got like a physio that helps with like any like the post flight. Now that I got to travel so much, like I get stiff after being on the airplane and waiting and standing and all that stuff, right?
Yep.
So the physio with the shockwave machine does wonders. And then the RMTs, right? I've got like two RMTs that help just keep me going, essentially. Like start do the morning meeting, go at massage, and then pound through the rest of your day, or like right through your dinner meetings.
Nice.
Um, so yes, having that and having what was the other one? I'd say that's the biggest thing because the better you feel, the more you'll be able to get done, right? And in your early stages, it might feel counterproductive, but no, you still need to make sure like you secure your cash flow, but staying healthy, you'll actually find you make more, way
Okay.
more. Um, Second one is leverage. So if you're going to go into the business and do things, the fastest way to get ahead is to leverage. So work with a solid team and map out your plan and take some calculated risks,
Yep.
right? You could do the slow way of um, organic growth, which could work depending on what your goals and what you want to do. Well, for me in the partnership, the goals that we've been wanting to do, we've set certain targets and worked backwards so that we can meet our personal goals for keeping the families happy,
Yep.
especially in the markets that we live in. So we've mapped that out, and that's why we know how much we need to acquire, how much more work, and work it backwards, right? We've got the capacity built out and the systems in place. So this is the exciting part. In the early days, during the summer, we had to dump money into the business, right? During tax season, is great. We take a windfall.
Yep.
now, touch wood, this is our first fiscal where like every period has been profitable.
Gotcha.
Like
That's
all the
awesome.
changes have finally caught up. Yeah. So leverage. Was the only way for us to do that with our targets. But I guess if I boil it back, that's the planning, right? I got Andrea and Jack, and together we formulated that plan, put the people in place, and are executing.
Yeah.
It's never done, so we still all have our roles to execute and nurture, our team, and make sure and nurture the clients and make sure everything is still growing. So it's a continuous work in progress, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, no, I've seen you guys really blow up in the last couple of years and do really well. And I didn't have any part of it, but I feel very proud to see like, hey, I watched these guys when they were solopreneurs and then a partnership, and now you have like an enterprise and it's growing. The trajectory is pretty awesome to watch.
Oh, thanks, but no,
And
and you're very much a part of that. No, no, no. You sent us lots of great clients, and you've looked after a lot of our referrals very well. Like they all speak highly of you, and you brought like a new thing at the time, right? Because a lot of them, like a lot of people wouldn't do house visits
yeah,
anymore. Or they would just rush them through things. They like that you take the time to walk them through, even the simple for us because
yeah,
we talk about it and do it every day. But
yeah,
for the average investor, even just taking the time to be courteous and walking them through the basics of what an account is or how tax works.
yeah, yeah. That's so funny is that yeah, we take things for granted, right? Like I'm over 20 years in the industry and 15 years on the advisor side, and things that may be complex to like the average Canadian is, you know,
Second nature, or you don't even
yeah,
think about it.
second,
It's
yeah, we don't think about it that much, and
yeah.
sometimes we have to like stop and go, wait a minute, maybe I need to like, and my verbiage is I'm gonna stop. I gotta read this and translate it to English for my clients because, right, they need to know what it means.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And for the advisors that can teach it to them, I mean, the key thing's keeping it simple. It just shows how much more and that's what they want to hire, right? So
Yeah,
even for the young professionals out there, if you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know, but come up with a solution for them, or let them know you will come up with a solution for them.
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
I guess
and
that'd be the
one of
second piece.
one of the themes that we've been bringing up a lot in the last couple of years is really invoking the power of the financial team, and
Mm-hmm.
like you guys make up a big part of that team. Is for somebody to become a professional and be successful, they're going to need an accounting team, and they're going to need a mortgage broker or a private lender. They're going to need a lawyer. They're going to need all these players. And
Yes,
so bringing us all together, like we did that event last year, and it had people still
that was
talk
last
about
year
it.
already.
I think it was.
Oh man, I
Um,
went by quick. Yeah, I had a
yeah,
lot of fun doing that. I mean, go walking up to go do a presentation, someone tosses me a beer. I'm like, whoa, oh, I should talk a little longer. I'm like, hey, toss me another one. All right, I got
yeah,
10 more minutes.
yeah, right. But people
That was a great
talk
time,
about that because they never get those professionals assembled in one place as a panel to interact. And
and it was a
so
great group of guys that you had together too. Reflection
it,
of your guys' business and
yeah, it was
character.
good. It was a great group. And so we're looking to do more of that kind of stuff, but to introduce that concept, that idea to clients is, man, to have all of your pieces of, important documentation, investments, your assets, like siloed into different things and they don't communicate to each other
Yeah,
is that efficient? Are you wasting money? Are you wasting time? Um,
100%. Well, usually they'll have sometimes the client will be the hub. So you have all these different things connecting to them, but then they'll have to play telephone. And that's when things can get wonky, right? Well, my lawyer said this. And we're like, why would they say that?
right?
And
Exactly.
you talk to a lawyer, lawyer's like, I didn't say that. I said this. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
to fault the client, but I mean, like, they're not in that space all the time, depending on their sophistication, right? And who it
Yep.
is you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny how
Yeah.
people hear things that they want to hear sometimes. And it's
Yeah,
not
Bob said I could
exactly
do
the
it.
instruction. Yeah, it's not the instructions that we gave you, but that's
No,
all good.
all I heard was yes.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Um, so Oscar, if people wanted to find
yeah.
you online on social, that kind of stuff, where can they find you?
Yeah, you know what? We're still working on the social stuff, so that'll be coming out shortly. We're working
Okay.
on content and stuff. We've got we're using one of our clients to help us map out our social media campaign and all that. So be providing feedback on that process throughout there. But yeah, shout out to Sunshine for all your help with this. I got to find the studio name and give them a proper shout out. But we're grateful for all of their help. They've been wonderful to us in terms of supporting our business and also just and helping us now that we're on their client side, navigating that mystical labyrinth. Like it feels like a video game, where it's like the black
Mm-hmm.
fog of war, and I
Yep.
don't know where to go. And it's kind of as you get closer, you figure it out. But you have someone guiding you through, or like a cheat. You can see the map.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what they provide. Um, so yeah, definitely shout out to them and to the team. To find us online, Numis, just Google Numis, Numis CPA, and you should come across our website. I think our website's just numiscpa.com.
Yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah, okay, sweet, sweet. Yeah, best place to find us. And then there's
Okay.
links on there.
Sounds good. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I can't wait to have you back on for some updates and things that are going on because it's going to be a wild next couple of years, I think. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, we can find other ways to do it too. Like, let's go to a cigar shop and see if we can do one on site. And yeah, we can bring a
Excellent.
guest too. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be. I'll have to find the spot for that.
Yeah, definitely will. All right, my friend. Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Anything comes up, you know where to find me.
Sounds good. Thank you, Oscar. Appreciate it, man.
All right.